Well, we hereby call this meeting of the Good Old Boys Club to order. The meeting. That's what they called us. I'm joined in the studio this morning by Chuck Lingner, Mike Tanner, and the three of us, along with Paul Mertz. I don't even know how this thing got started, guys. They started calling us the Good Old Boys Club.
Well, I think they started thinking that we were kind of talking and doing things together, and nobody else knew what was going on. And it's like everybody wanted to get in, but they said, "Oh no, it's a Good Old Boys Club." And I said, "Yeah, it is." I think that's how it started.
Yeah, I don't remember. I might have invited myself into the club.
It was three. You have to work at it now. It took you a while to get in there, but
must have done something right.
Well, I think Mertz had the veto, and I think he vetoed a couple times, but then he let him in. I think
kept working on him.
This is our memorial to Paul Mertz, good friend, a co-worker that passed away last week. They're having his funeral this morning, and the funeral started at 10 o'clock, and we are on the air. We recorded this earlier, obviously, to share some memories about Paul and talk about our thoughts about Paul Mertz. Who, personally, guys, I don't know if you could find a person with a bigger heart.
Never. No, he,
than Paul.
like I said, he'd give you anything that you needed. He liked to help people that really needed help. And I told you this morning, if somebody needed 2 shirts and he only had one, he'd find another one and give it to that guy before he'd take it himself. And I think we've all seen that. He said his family is important and God's the most important, and I think that's the way he lived his life.
Yeah, he was a guy that... I don't know if I ever really saw Paul in what I would consider a bad mood.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, we all of us by nature we're kind of moody people. You have your better days and your bad days. If Paul was having a bad day, he kept it on the inside because, I mean, when he came into the building here, everybody knew he was here.
Yeah.
Because he was loud and he let people know he was around, and he was one of those people where if you were in a kind of a crummy mood and he walked in and he started talking to you for a while, he made you feel better, even if he wasn't trying to. He had that kind of personality.
That sense of humor was really off the deep end too. At times, in my first week here at KDLO 7 years ago, I was down using the bathroom, and you guys know that the bathroom is right off the kitchen, and something almost tore the door off the hinges while I was in there. It scared the daylights out of me, and I hurried up and come running out, and there stands Mertz with a big grin on his face, and he said, "Welcome to the station." Mertz, you scared. That was one of my first introductions to Paul.
But so many times we'd go out in remotes, and such a helpful guy and it was funny because everybody knew him. I mean, it didn't matter where you went. Everybody knew Paul, and he'd go and spend more time talking than helping me out sometimes, almost, because everybody knew him. Oh, Mertz. But, he was funny. We had some great times with Paul. And, he used to give a little, but, boy, he took a lot of static. We had more fun with Paul, and he'd just smile at it, and he'd go, "Wagner, Sieber, Tanner."
He loved getting it, but he loved giving it back, too.
What's so amazing, he used to do things, and then he'd tell us. Why did you tell us that, Paul?
Like falling asleep at the railroad tracks.
Yes, that's right.
We can never forget that one. And then the one story that we really like to tell, Chuck, and we're probably going to tell it numerous times at the State Fair this year. And that's where you and I and Paul really got to know one another, at the South Dakota State Fair. I still don't know where we found the cowbell.
Oh, cow, yeah.
Paul was one of those early to bed guys. So about 9:30, Mertz heads back to the camper to go to bed. And Chuck and I were still visiting, and I think it's probably along about 11:30 or midnight when we wandered into the camper. Somewhere along the way between Scotty D's food truck, and the camper, we found a cowbell.
Yeah, we did.
Don't know where it came from. But what was your idea, Chuck, on how to use the cowbell?
Well, I just thought we'd kind of make sure that Paul was still awake. So, anyway, we walk in there, we bang on the door, hit the lights, and ring the doorbell, and yell, "Mertzy!" Golly, he about died. He jumping up and down.
He came out of the bed. Poor guy. I'll get you, boys.
Yeah, I get there. But he was always fun. He was always an early riser.
Yeah, the big-hearted side of things. Paul would find out that I was working late here at KDLO, maybe filling in for Randy Grimes or something, and working through lunch. And Paul knows I like to eat. And Paul would just show up out of the blue with lunch, whether he'd go over to Hy-Vee and grab something from the deli or go get a pizza from Papa Murphy's, and then bake it or bring chicken in. But almost every time that I worked late for Grimes, Mertz showed up with lunch for me.
He took care of people. I mean, he did. He looked out for people.
How much pork did we eat at State Fair?
A lot. Boy, we ate a lot of pork at the State Fair. When we go to the State Fair here at the end of August this year, and we've been doing this deal for a few years now, going to the State Fair together. It's going to be different this year without having Paul there.
It's not going to be the same thing.
No, it won't be the same.
He'll be there with us, but just not in the way we like it. But that Paul has always been kind of funny when he does it. He has his own sense of humor, and it's just like when he'll walk in and he'll say something funny, and everybody kind of looks at. But you'll miss that old thing where he comes crawling, walking in the ring. Saber, Wagner.
Yeah. He liked to play solitaire at his computer at his desk way on the other side of the building in the back. And I remember going back to his office one time because I had to ask him a question. And as I got closer, the door was open, and Paul was in his chair at his desk with his head tipped back, sound asleep, snoring like you cannot believe. I walked up real close. I had my phone with me. I walked up real close and took a couple of close-up pictures without waking him up of him sound asleep, snoring at work. I always kept those pictures on my phone as evidence, and I'd always tease him about it. Don't badmouth me because I've got pictures on my phone that show how hard you actually work.
And he took a nap once in a while to these remotes too,
Well,
but
for remotes,
he worked hard.
It was always fun for us to sneak back there in the afternoon, hoping we could catch Paul sleeping. Because if we could, we always beat on the door and yelled loud enough and tried to cause him to fall out of the chair. And he would just wake up like, ah!
You were talking about service, and Paul serviced people so well that I said, how many salesmen can actually say that the people they sell to wait for their salesman to come? And they are, and there's a lot of these people right now, and you'll be hearing some of them talking about it, but there are a lot of people that just going to miss him because they waited for him to come on that one day a week, and not many salespeople can say that.
He had the perfect personality and temperament to be a radio sales guy because when he'd walk into a client's door and sit down, it wouldn't be about making that sale and as quickly as he could and going on to the next place to do it all over again. He'd walk in, he'd want to sit down, and he'd want to visit with you. And it wasn't an act. It's because that's how he was. He was genuinely interested in people and in how they were doing. That was just him.
Big man, big heart. I mean, that's the Mertz that I will remember. And before the joke of the day, we'd always play, try to find some song that was a little bit off the wall or something. And one of the songs that every time that we played it, and Paul showed up in the door, he was singing it. And that was the Mac Davis song, It's Hard to Be Humble. And he would just beller it out like crazy. So for me, I think a fitting tribute for Paul is to play that song.
All right.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Back a few months ago, I was headlining at a great big nightclub. And he put me up a couple of days early. I came in a couple of days early, and they put me up at what they call the Star Suite. Now here I am, headliner in one of the biggest nightclubs in the country, and I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning in this Star Suite, all by myself. Yeah, that's what I said, aw. But I did what I've always done, man, to cheer myself up. I picked up my guitar, I sat down, I wrote me a little song. Now this is how it feels to be alone at the top of the hill, trying to figure out why. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing guess she just couldn't compete with all of these love-starved women who keep clamoring at my feet. Well, I probably could find me another, but I guess they're all in awe of me. Who cares? I never get lonesome, 'cause I treasure my own company. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble. You're perfect in every way. Can't wait to look in the mirror. Can't wait to look in the mirror. Help me out now, come on. I get better looking each day. To know me is to what? To know me is to love me. Must be a hell of a man. I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard. Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're doing what? We're doing the best that we can. I guess you could say I'm a loner, a cowboy outlaw, tough and proud. Well, I could have lots of friends if I wanted, but then I wouldn't stand out from the crowd. Some folks say that I'm egotistical. Hell, I don't even know what that means. I guess it has something to do with the way that I fill out my skin-tight blue jeans. Whoa. Come on, where's all the kickers in here? Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. When you're perfect in every way. Can't wait to look in the mirror. I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking. I get better looking each day. To know me is to what? To know me is to love me. Must be a hell of a man. Must be a hell of a man. Oh, Lord, it's hard. Lord, it's hard to be humble. What are we doing? We're doing the best that we can. One more time. What are we doing? We're doing the best that we can. Give yourself a hand.
It's been rough and rocky traveling, but I'm finally standing upright on the ground. After taking several readings, I'm surprised to find my mind still fairly sound. I guess Nashville was the roughest, but I know I've said the same about them all. We received our education in the cities of the nation, me and Paul. Almost busted in Laredo, but for reasons that I'd rather not disclose. But if you're staying in a motel there and leave, just don't leave nothing in your clothes. And at the airport in Milwaukee, they refused to let us board the plane at all. They said we look suspicious, but I believe they like to pick on me and Paul. Well, it's been rough and rocky traveling, but I'm finally standing upright on the ground. And after taking several readings, I'm surprised to find my mind still fairly sound. Guess Nashville was the roughest, but I know I've said the same about them all. We received our education in the cities of the nation, me and Paul. On a package show in Buffalo with us and Kitty Wells and Charlie Pride. The show was long and we're just sitting there, and we'd come to play and not just for the ride. Well, we drank a lot of whiskey, so I don't know if we went on that night at all. But I don't think they even missed us. I guess Buffalo ain't geared for me and Paul. Well, it's been rough and rocky traveling, but I'm finally standing upright on the ground. And after taking several readings, I'm surprised to find my mind still fairly sound. I guess Nashville was the roughest, but I know I've said the same about them all. We received our education in the cities of the nation, me and Paul.
Watertown Radio remembers the life of Paul Mertz. Husband, father, grandpa, co-worker, and friend to many people he met in life.
When I think of Paul, I think of his entrance into the office and his happy Monday, happy Tuesday, every day. It always brightened my day when he came in. Even on his last days, he was always very positive and upbeat. One thing about Paul, you always knew when he was around. Paul at the radio station here was our resident cook, made the best popcorn, and he grilled at all of our occasions, and he sure loved to eat. I don't know that we'll ever be able to duplicate two of my favorites. I tried one day making Egg McMertz's, but they weren't as good as his, everybody said, or his homemade popcorn. With everything else, Paul was a very generous person, always gave to all the fundraisers that we had going on here, and especially Children's Miracle Network was dear to his heart because he just loved children and loved to do anything to help children. Besides just being such a good guy, Paul will be dearly missed, and I know I'll miss him.
If I surveyed all the good things that come to me from above, if I count all the blessings from the storehouse of love, I'd simply ask for a favor of him beyond mortal king, and I'm sure that he'd grant it again. I want to stroll over heaven with you some glad day, when all our troubles and heartaches are vanished away. Then we'll enjoy the beauty where all things are new. I want to stroll over heaven with you. So many places of beauty we long to see here below, but time and treasures have kept us from making plans, as you know. But come the morning of the rapture, together we'll stand anew, while I stroll over heaven with you. I want to stroll over heaven with you some glad day, when all our troubles and heartaches are vanished away, then we'll enjoy the beauty where all things are new. I want to stroll over heaven with you. I want to stroll over heaven with you. Just walked down the street to the coffee shop. Had to take a break. I'd been by her side for 18 hours straight. Saw a flower growing in the middle of the sidewalk, pushing up through the concrete like it was planted right there for me to see. The flashing lights, the honking horns all seemed to fade away, and the shadow of that hospital at 508, I saw God today. I've been to church, I've read the book, I know He's here, but I don't look near as often as I should. Yeah, I know I should. His fingerprints are everywhere. I just slowed down to stop and stare. Open my eyes and man, I swear I saw God today. Saw a couple walking by, they were holding hands. Man, she had that glow. Yeah, I couldn't help but notice she was starting to show. Stood there for a minute, taking in the sky, lost in that sunset. A splash of amber melted into shades of red. I've been to church, I've read the book, I know He's here, but I don't look near as often as I should. Yeah, I know I should. His fingerprints are everywhere. I just slowed down to stop and stare. Open my eyes and man, I swear I saw God today. Got my face pressed up against the nursery glass. She's sleeping like a rock. My name on her wrist, wearing tiny pink socks. She's got my nose, she's got her mama's eyes. My brand new baby girl, she's a miracle. I saw God today.
Watertown Radio remembers the life of Paul Mertz. Husband, father, grandpa, co-worker, and friend to many people he met in life. You know, the one thing I'm always going to remember about Paul, and it has to do with popcorn. When I grew up, my oldest sister Marla would always make me popcorn on the stovetop in a kettle. And she was about the same age as Paul. And when I came working for the radio station here, Paul would make his popcorn on the stovetop in a kettle. And it was always a treat whenever Paul made his buttered popcorn. And he would always take the time to make sure that I got a large bowl of buttered popcorn. He would set aside a bowl, fill it up, and bring it back to me here at the studio whenever he made buttered popcorn. And even though we've got a popcorn machine here at the radio station, there's nothing better than a fresh batch of Paul Mertz popcorn.
My grandpa taught me about buck knives and shotguns, how to cast an old zip code, and how to work a stick shift. He taught me the Bible and about all 12 disciples, and he made sure that I know there's life after this, with pearly gates and streets of gold. He said if I just believe, that's where I'll go. But Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven, where there's dirt roads for miles, hay in the fields, and fish in the river, where there's dogwood trees and honeybees and blue skies and green grass forever. Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven. Now it says in the King James, in the Almighty's kingdom, he mentions a mansion that he's built just for me. Now I'd gladly trade it for a farmhouse with acreage and a backyard that's shaded and a squeaky front porch swing. That's where I wanna hang my wings when I die. I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven, where there's dirt roads for miles, hay in the fields, and fish in the river, and where there's dogwood trees and honeybees and blue skies and green grass forever. So Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven. Yeah, the good Lord knows me. He knows I need blue skies and green grass forever. Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven. Yeah, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven.
When the last breath of mine is gone from my body and my lips are as cold as the sea, when my friends gather round for my farewell party, won't you pretend you love me? There'll be flowers from those who cried when I I know you'll be glad when I'm gone.
Watertown Radio remembers the life of Paul Mertz. Husband, father, grandpa, co-worker, and friend to many people he met in life.
Well, one of the greatest parts of working at the State Fair is the wide array of people that I get to know and that I have the privilege of working with. And one of those such people was Paul Mertz, of course, the radio rep here for Watertown Radio. And you could about bet it around every Tuesday around noon he'd come strolling through the fair doors. Some days, of course, we'd talk business, and other days it would just, be shooting the breeze and talking about his family or my family and swapping stories. And, of course, there was never any shortage of grief given to Paul. One time, I understand he fell asleep at a railroad. And so, of course, the guys gave him a hard time, and we found out about that in the fair office. So one of my coworkers, Tara Peterson, she's no longer at the fair office, but she printed off a railroad crossing sign and put it on the side of my desk. So every time Paul came in, we always gave him a hard time about falling asleep at the railroad crossing when they were coming to Huron or wherever they were going. So we had a good time with that. Paul always, of course, had good jokes to tell. He was certainly a class act, and he was all about building relationships, and he worked hard to advance the fair. He was so good to the State Fair, calling me every Wednesday and doing fair updates. I'll certainly miss his voice when he'd call and say, "Good morning and happy Wednesday, Candy." That's exactly how he would greet me every time. So we'll certainly miss him here at the fair office, and he was one of the first faces I worked with when I started working with the fair back in 2007, and he definitely became a friend. So I'm very thankful that I got to see him a couple weeks ago when he made his trip to Huron. So I certainly will never forget Paul. And he was definitely a one-of-a-kind man, and he was such a good man. And through it all, he's maintained good spirits. So rest easy, Paul.
When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do
and spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, where I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step, and I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. So much pain and so much darkness in this world we stumble through. All these questions I can't answer, and so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will love and have no
My last breath I wanna take with a smile, and no regrets, no hope of turning back that dial. Let the story I've written be something worth leaving, we're leaving behind. When I'm gone, tell them I laughed more than I shed tears. When I'm gone, tell them I stared down all my fears, that I danced on the wire and I walked through a fire, that I lived every moment till that moment retired. So my life goes on when I'm gone. When I'm gone, tell them I left that town, but it never left my soul. Then I settled down, but I never got old. If the house was packed and all raised a glass as the credits roll. When I'm gone, tell them I laughed more than I shed tears. When I'm gone, tell them I stared down all my fears, that I danced on the wire and I walked through the fire, let my life go on, go on, go on. When I'm gone, tell me my life more than I'll shed tears. When I'm gone, tell me I stand down all my fears, that I danced on the wire and I walked through the fire, that I lived every moment till that moment retired. So my life goes on when I'm gone. When I'm gone, on my last breath, I wanna take with a smile.
Watertown Radio remembers the life of Paul Mertz. Husband, father, grandpa, co-worker, and friend to many people he met in life.
No matter what event you went to with him, we were guaranteed to have a sore side at the end of the day from laughing so hard. Whether it was sack lunches that we delivered out to the farmers, or he and the rest of your team attending our golf tournament. Last year was especially a great time. Assisting me one time at the state fair in relocating Chuck's golf cart so that he couldn't find it was another great memory we had of him. They definitely broke the mold when they made Paul. One of the comments that he would always leave us with as he's leaving was, gotta run, keep smiling.
While Cat Kelly, looking mighty pale, was standing by the sheriff's side. And when that sheriff said, I'm sending you to jail, Wildcat raised his head and cried, oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in, let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in, let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please, don't fence me in, just turn me loose. Let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences and gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Give me land, lots of land under starry skies. Don't fence me in, let me ride through the wide country that I love. Don't fence me in, let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please, don't fence me in, just turn me loose. Let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences and gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in.
And you know, partner, someone's going to get bucked off.
Don't look so sad. I know it's over, but life goes on, and this old world will keep on turning. Let's just be glad we had some time to spend together. There's no need to watch the bridges that we're burning. Lay your head upon my pillow. Hold your warm and tender body close to mine. Hear the whisper of the raindrops blowing soft against the window, and make believe you love me one more time. For the good time. I'll get along. You'll find another, and I'll be here if you should find you ever need me. Don't say a word about tomorrow or forever. There'll be time enough for sadness when you leave me. Lay your head upon my pillow. Hold your warm and tender body close to mine. Hear the whisper of the raindrops blowing soft against the window, and make believe you love me one more time. For the good time.
Watertown Radio remembers the life of Paul Mertz. Husband, father, grandpa, co-worker, and friend to many people he met in life.
I first met Paul 3 years ago preparing for the annual Children's Miracle Network Radiothon. He didn't think twice about some random person being outside his office, just introduced himself and started getting to know me and why I was there. When he found out I worked with CMN, his eyes lit up and he shared with me how proud he was to be part of Watertown Radio and their annual Radiothon. After that, every time I'd stop into the station, Paul would be there with a pep in his step, a smile, and a story about the latest happenings in his life. He was such a gift to the CMN family, and we'll truly miss him.
This is John Deniger at Prostrollo's in Huron. Paul was our radio sales rep for many years, and no one came close to his dedication to his customers. He drove 90 miles from Watertown every Tuesday and stopped in to make sure everything was okay with our radio ads. I always got a card and nice gift on Christmas and my birthday, which really meant a lot to me. I'm sure Paul treated all his customers in his own special way. Paul was a special person and will be missed by everyone he touched.
Looking back all the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Holding you, I held everything. For a moment, wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say? You know I might have changed it all. And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. It's my life, it's better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance.
I know your life on earth was troubled, and only you could know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger gathered round your grave to grieve. Wish I could see the angels' faces when they hear your sweet voice. far.